message. This is a trap of caoutchoucs.
Yes, I guessed it. I still came.
If you guessed it was a trap, why did you come?
If Caoutchouc could use your great name.
One at. Greetings to you also. This is another topic about the problem of victims of brain control gangs, the type of choice, and it is frankly directed only to real victims who do not know anything of what happens to them, also to those who have been deceived and do not know that they are inside gangs and not a sacred organization or working for God or doing good but all evil only. Of course, in any war or confrontation, a person must know who the enemy is or know information about him in order to be able to manage his situation and act on this subject, which I believe that only a few have indicated or talked about, although it is a fundamental thing in this problem. I mean, we notice that many talk about brain control weapons only and damage only, while they have forgotten or they do not know, or there are other reasons that made them not talk about the basis. Here I am, now I will focus on it through proverbs and video clips for clarity. This problem is similar to that someone has a family of his own. He only means he has more wife and children and all of them live in one house and he is responsible for them, and the one responsible for the house and the laws of this house is the one who invented them, also is the one who gives them money or spends on them. What happens is that the person hides himself and tries to make you look like you are in charge of this filthy house by playing imitation, also like someone who has a football team. He is not you, and he is the one who leads them and he who puts them laws, and he is the one who spends money on him and not you, and also he hides himself and tries to make from you as if you are the one in charge of this team, but without knowing this, and also even if you know, he will not make you a leader over the team or responsible for it at all, because it is a lie. He invented it only. Also will not stop lying and claiming that you are in charge of the team, also will not be taken. 2 out. You will not be able to give any orders to this team, and none of them will ever take a word from you. Here I want to say that the members of the team themselves know that this is a lie, and they know who their real manager is, who hides himself and who gave orders to them to lie and say that you are the mastermind of them. Of course, this is the style of the gangs in general, as they always hide who their true leader is. Here we almost reach what I want to say, which is that the brain control gangs are a terrorist gang that has made itself or wore various masks, including that they claim to be organized, and they hide who is their real leader, who gave them the dirty laws that they work with, is also the one who gave them the positions, money and property that they have. Instead, they lie and say that the victim of the choice is the director, or he is in charge of this organization, and he is the one who registers elements for them, gives them orders, chooses for them, etc., or works for them, and they are the ones who made it so. Here, a swindle, fraud, impersonation and forgery means the victim does not have any organization and does not know anything about it or its laws and has no relationship with it. I tell you that there is a benefit for the victim to publish a video, and this is very useful because it is evidence that she is not the leader of this gang, or according to what you claim and says that they are organized. But publishing any video must be in the correct way and not, for example, such a video. 3 at. Look at him. Did the victim appear in his true form? No. Did he know himself and set his full name? Where does he live? What he does? How does he live? For example, does he work in a company or an employee, etc.? I mean, how he gets money in order to live, and this is very important for the victim to reveal him because the gang lies and says that he works for them. Of course, I know that this is a private matter, but the situation here is different, as a person is not in a normal condition, but rather a victim, meaning he has to give complete information about him, no matter what he sold me, even if he was begging in the streets or begging for some money from others, and also gives a reason that they gave him some money, also frankly reveals everything that he owns, also reveals whether his relationship with his family is a normal social relationship, and also his relationship with people he knows. I mean, for example, does he have an organization and he is its director and they are members of it, or not? Or is he a tribal leader and they are members of it? He works in the unseen, and did he make himself a profit, etc., from complete personal information? And this will make the video a very useful thing for him and expose all the forgery and impersonation that the gang carried out, so that their plan to make the a victim as a scapegoat or directed at their true leader, who always conceals himself and tries to make the victim appear as if he is the leader of the gang and not he. 4 at. Until now we have known the game, which is the existence of an organization. They will make the victim a manager over it without knowing this and make him think that it is the voice of God or something from the authority of God while she is a gang, or the victim remains a fool who does not know anything. Of course, I would like to tell you something bad, and even if he knows the victim is now that the game is an organization that has huge money and property that he has been made a manager on, so he will not be able to take it or control it and change its laws so that he can lead it because all of its laws are wrong and outside of the law, religion and morals. But they will not give him anything, and they will not take any orders from him, and he will. They continue to lie and claim that he is the director and denounce their real manager who gave them positions, money and laws. Of course, the victim has nothing to give, and if he had money he would not give it to himself first, or he would actually sit in the manager's position and then give or appoint others. Here is the other case, which is if he is cleared of them and declares that he is a simple person who does not have any organization, money, position, or followers, and he does not register any elements for them, does not choose elements of leadership for them, and does not give them any orders. Here also the gang will not leave the victim, but a despicable race begins between them and the victim. The one who reveals the truth is that they will continue to lie. I mean, if he went to any person and told him that there is a gang that has no relationship with it nor with its laws, it has put a probe device on it, which is the brain control segment, and this gang is forging and lying and saying that he is its leader while this is not true. Here the gang, you will go to the same person to lie to him or give him money in order to be silent or change and work for them, or make him lie and say that the victim is
speaking to someone who believes me, and I just felt that all these things happening to me just pushed me over the edge, because all the community stakeholders you're speaking to, your doctors, your elected officials, even lawyers, they're just saying
it's a mental thing.
Yeah, and then as a targeted individual, you know, you're not only going through the physiological attacks, you're going through psychological attacks. There's something called multi-group stalking, where a lot of people crowd you or follow you, and they point devices at you. There's possibly some type of directed energy weapon coming from the device that's harming you, and you could spaz out.
Yeah.
You could spaz out. So, I mean, I've gone through a lot prior to targeting. I'd never have a public, you know, I'd never spaz out in the public, but yeah. I know that this year, I kind of had some, you know, public outcries because of the changes that occurred to my face, to my body, to, you know, and just people following,
you know, who I was, because at the time I didn't really realize what they were doing, but they were trying to get rid of anything that would prove that I'm not some kind of wild hooker. And honestly, you would think that, like, if I was some wild hooker, I would have, like, a lot of money. I'd have my crown molding done in my house. You know, I'd have some guys to help me do it, obviously, if I'm a crazy hooker. And I'd probably be able to pay my rent and my bills on time. You know, I mean, that would only make sense. Sorry, my nose is running. You know, I mean, well, no. So they were trying to basically ambush me because I'd have no idea what they were doing. And the problem with it is pretty much what's done in the dark has come to the light. And I changed years ago. After the first couple terror campaigns that they pulled on me, I started to look at my life and I'm like, well, why?
I'm a targeted individual, guys. My life is, there's a big changes of my life when I find out that I'm one of the targeted individual, and I want to be a normal people, and I don't want to think about it every day, even though it's every day is kind of struggle for me. And yeah, I just want to share, guys, and I hope you understand this kind of video, guys. And yeah.
6. He is the leader of the gang and not a simple person. They also have tricks on the internet in Iraq, which are the tricks of blocking and other things, or closing any Facebook page that opens it. There is a race that will take place between the gang and the victim. Of course, this is completely different from a war against the gang that we know through stories of victims. This is a race to uncover the truth, and it is very important for the victim. For example, if the victim succeeds and is disavowed from the gang completely and reveals that he does not work for them and is not affiliated with them and does not work with their laws and the unseen and does not have any position with them and he does not own half in this gang, money, property, or followers, and also reveals that the leader of the gang put his brain control segment on him without any approval from him or his legitimacy and started spying on him through it here, others will sympathize with him and also he will find someone to help him because of everyone knew that the victim was a victim of fraud, impersonation and forgery. Of course, this is also something that resembles that you have an identification card or passport, and a thief or fraudster has stolen it from you and has been deceiving others, but he is impersonating and exploiting your name through the card, meaning how to behave in such a situation. Certainly, you will announce that you are not responsible for this thief while he is exploiting your name. Here the issue is similar, which is how the victim disavows the spy gang leader and his gang and how it proves that he has no relationship with it. Here I want to add that this gang leader will continue to elude and lie. For example, he will make the victim with gang through that the victim lives with his family or eats. 6. That he is the leader of the gang and not a simple person. They also have tricks on the internet in Iraq, which are the tricks of blocking and other things or closing any Facebook page that opens it. There is a race that will take place between the gang and the victim. Of course, this is completely different from a war against the gang that we know through stories of victims. This is a race to uncover the truth, and it is very important for the victim. For example, if the victim succeeds and is disavowed from the gang completely and reveals that he does not work for them and is not affiliated with them and does not work with their laws and the unseen and does not have any position with them and he does not own half in this gang, money, property, or followers, and also reveals that the leader of the gang put his brain control segment on him without any approval from him or his legitimacy and started spying on him through it here, others will sympathize with him and also he will find someone to help him because of everyone knew that the victim was a victim of fraud, impersonation and forgery. Of course, this is also something that resembles that you have an identification card or passport, and a thief or fraudster has stolen it from you and has been deceiving others, but he is impersonating and exploiting your name through the card, meaning how to behave in such a situation. Certainly, you will announce that you are not responsible for this thief while he is exploiting your name. Here the issue is similar, which is how the victim disavows the spy gang leader and his gang and how it proves that he has no relationship with it. Here I want to add that this gang leader will continue to elude and lie. For example, he will make the victim with gang through that the victim lives with his family or eats. 7. At with them, or he drinks, speaks, lives, and maybe he takes money or clothes, etc. and says that the victim's family are subordinate elements to him and their home to him, and here the papers are also mixed up with the people whom the victim knows have also been made elements with the gang and also the same game. Any talk with them or their visit or taken will be taken something from them has a relationship with the gang. This demon spy means the gang leader, a despicable person trying to keep exploiting the victim's body as a scapegoat for him or body exploiting him to lead his terrorist gang, registers elements, gives them positions and money, gives orders to them and chooses them. He also claims to be the victim's secretary or garter while this is a lie. Of course, the victim has no relationship with this spy and his gang as a whole, and he has no power over it, whether he wants this or not, and whatever he tries, he will not get anything that will benefit him or people he wants to benefit them. That he will make brain control waves stop if they give up the organization, give it, leave it, or resign from it. Here, the victim will be a bigger fool if he does this because he will admit that he works in this gang as its director or he has half in it or position, money and property and he gave it up first. The victim will completely lose his legal position. Second, the devil spy will not fulfill his promise or what he said and will not make the wave stop. This gang is a liar. 8. That he will continue to destroy the victim's brain. The only solution is to completely release him and his gang, which he says is organized while it is only a terrorist gang. Of course, there are many tricks that he did. For example, he said if the victim leaves his family's home, he will make the waves stop, but it is also a lie. He also said that the victim does not strike homosexuals and also lied about this. It turns and the more the victim is fed, one condition creates another, and so on. He is like a thief in his area where there is no law. He entered into the house of a poor and weak person and stayed in the house and did not leave it. As for the owner of the house, he was begging him to go out while the thief would invent conditions. Iraq with the victims. It is a terrorist tyrant spy. Notice the game of Satan. This spy who made the victim appear as a leader or a person with a position and possesses money and property, while the victim is nothing to nothing. She is just a foolish person or very poor person, or that this devil wants to destroy him, so he has become a victim of a scapegoat or a body that is only being exploited. From any victim who does not believe my words and is still sleeping in the world of illusion, or fear that he has some courage to test this organization that he thinks is his, or he has half of it, or he thinks that he has authority, or that his voice is something important and influential, that he conducts a test and gives orders to give them an amount of 20 million or more and orders the change of all laws. Of course, the result will be known. No one will be executed. 9 at anything. Such an experience will be like a shock needed by the victim who thinks or believes that he has obtained something important, or that God chose him, or believes that this organization is for him because it follows him wherever he goes. But it is just bad luck that follows him, or as a result of a foolish behavior, or because he is a person poor and weak in a world dominated by the law of the jungle that has absolutely no mercy for the weak and has no place but to be a slave. People. I mean, whoever avoids this will get away, while this demon uses brain control weapons that he knows nothing about and which cost billions of them, all stolen from Iraq. This is the dirty truth in Iraq, that Satan and his gang are trying to hide and conceal their possession, while armies of poor people in Iraq dream about something simple. Even, of course, no one in all parts of Iraq is able to hold this devil and his terrorist organization to account and tell them to win all this money and hold them accountable within the law for this crime of theft, also for the injury and killing that they did with their illegal weapons, which are the same effect as chemical weapons.
Using the huge resources of the unconscious or the subconscious mind. They're the same thing, just different people call it different things. Now, and perhaps it's because hypnosis is so powerful, there are unfortunately some stigmas that hypnosis has attached over the years, that it might have some kind of mind control power, and that it's used to make people to do things against their will. And this is a very unfortunate thing. You see, I suppose it goes without saying that any effective tool can be used in an unethical manner. For example, anyone can use a car to drive somewhere, save someone's life, but they can use it also to do a great deal of damage. So taking away those extreme cases involving truly immoral individuals, hypnosis cannot be used to make you do something against your will, and the reason for it lies within you. You see, your morals and your values are firmly stored at the level of your unconscious mind. Now, if anyone were to ask you to do something that goes against these morals and these values, you just naturally would not do it. Even if you were in a very deep hypnotic trance, you still won't do something you're normally opposed to. So, let me reiterate this. Hypnosis is a
simply weakens the will of those who are softer to begin with.
You're wasting your time. I'm my father's daughter.
In a little while, the serum will have done its work. It will draw a curtain across your inner mind, which can be penetrated in only one way. Now sleep. Sleep. When you awaken, no memory of this will remain. You will function as you always have, until I give the invocation. Whenever you hear or read the word Verkelak. Verkelak. You will obey my every command, my every wish, my every whim.
Now I give you very funny things that I don't know if anyone believes it, and I mean this gang leader's response when he is accused of using brain control weapons in Iraq. Here are the justifications of this terrorist. First, he will completely deny the existence of these weapons and try to change the subject. Secondly, if he increases pressing him, will say that they are weapons directed against what he calls agents, who are friends of America, the countries of Europe, and their friends in Iraq only, and not directed against the rest of the people here. Something which is that this devil, who made himself a prophet in the gospel church, and his gang when he took control of Iraq, changed everything, but even the judges in the law in Iraq, and he raised and restored legal paragraphs that existed in the time of the previous regime that are considered from dealing with America and European countries, something outside the law as well. Other than all the leaders of the security services, for example, the Office of Combating Terrorism and other security and intelligence agencies, and make them all of them are subordinate elements, he is for this. These security services will not hold the members of this gang accountable when they harm or kill any person who is friends with America and the countries of Europe and Iraq, but rather leave him facing his fate, and if it interferes, it will be next to the gang that made itself support the security and the security apparatus while it was hitting security, the police and the army, before they took control of it and made all its leaders from it, and after that changed its position in order to claim that it is with security. Here you notice that any operations to return Iraq must return everything. 11 at, and cleaning the whole dirt. Thirdly, there are funny excuses also given by this terrorist, the leader of the terrorist organization in Iraq, this spy, for example, to make his organization as a family with adults in it, and there are young homosexuals and morally degraded, and then he says that these young people are the ones who use these weapons in order to have fun, and had fun. I mean, is there a child who throws billions in the water in order to be entertained by this, have all the entertainment tools run out, and nothing remains except the money of the poor people to have fun with it and throw it while the people look at them? Also, there is a very dirty thing, which is that he refuses to let anyone intervene to hold them accountable, and he says this is an internal matter and they are the organizer who is the one who holds the violators accountable in it. It means that the one who holds them accountable is one of them only and does not accept that it be carried out by legal means at all. Of course, no one will hold them accountable because the adults are the ones who made these morally degraded people do all kinds of evil, murder and theft. Each branch has such a group of its subordinates. Also, there's the justification I consider the most ridiculous, is that the devil says the reason is the victim of choice, because he was not punished this group or the elements that disagree or is weak and unqualified, for example, while making himself a trustee or secretary of the victim and just someone who carries out orders from her. Here we return to the subject to reveal the game. The victim is absolutely nothing to do with what he has to do, for nothing how to punish a gang has nothing to do with also, he is not from it and he does not work according to all its dirty laws and does not own anything in it. I mean, we all know that any manager gives orders here, the victim is the choice of whom to give orders. 12 at no one means, does she talk to herself, for example, so that Satan hears the spy? And if he does not implement, for example, as she said previously, give $20 million and change the laws, and no one carries out this means, can you punish them for not obeying orders? Of course, no, and the reason is that they have nothing to do with them, and they just like this was just a test that served to dispel illusion. I mean, does the victim go to his family, which he has no authority over them, and remain punished with them, or he goes to his friends, or any place he buys from, a restaurant in which he ate, a car in which he rides, a cafe in which he sat, or relatives of him, etc., in order to punish them? Of course, this is unreasonable, because the victim is he does not have any organization to punish them, that is, he asks for a meeting with them to discuss such a problem or offense. It is more funny that this devil invented penal laws that resemble a mother who has a child or a group of children with him, and if he has something or food, she does not take anything from him, and also do not talk to him or be upset and leave the house or tear any picture of him or anything that reminds her of him, or you do not like him or hate him, also do not think of him at all and do not hear his voice or see etc. This is the shame of this devil, which he calls penal laws, which he tries to impose on the victim of choice in order to make her responsible for everything bad that happened, while the devil of his church remains this is as if it is the voice of God and loves everyone, while it is the cause of everything bad. There is also another game he has, and it is as if he wants to impose something, which is for the victim to rise up. 13 out by gathering its followers from people you know, and this very dirty game is the statement that Satan has decided to get rid of the victim, which is the body he is exploiting or his donkey. Therefore he will give orders to half of his gang to attack the victim. He is aware of everything. The victim can use it and also close all the outlets on her, and after that only one door opens for her, which is that the victim has to gather followers and face the gang that attacks. Here in this trap, many victims have fallen. Here they completely lose their minds and enter this pact and forget that they are very poor and have no money at all. So how do they gather their followers to become a team with them to confront the gang? I mean, they did not think who paid to these people, they also did not think about anything, and that is why these people are working with the same laws that the gang that attacks them operates. An unemployed weapon that has no authority over it, but it will look like it has a weapon, so the gang will shoot it, and this is considered a fair and equal confrontation between two parties. Each one has a subordinate group. This wrong image, while the truth is a gang against one poor person only. That is, followers, no money, and he defends himself only, and does not have a position or money and property at all. This is the truth of the game. 14 pound. Here you have noticed that the victim is nothing and she is defending herself to redeem herself only and not defending any position she has or money and property, and also she has no followers whatsoever. This is the truth that the gang is trying to falsify in Iraq and makes the victim appear as the leader of this gang. He is the one who registers elements for them or is in charge of finance in it or represents something or has half in it, or he works for them or belongs with them and works according to their laws or knows them. He has a duty to choose leaders for them, etc. from dirty lies. They also justify the reason for attacking him by a group inside this gang, and they make the reason as a competition with him only for the position that he owns, as this group that attacks the victim, and they are his colleagues in the same gang. According to the lie, these went to the great devil in Iraq, who made himself a prophet, and asked him to conduct tests on the victim. Here I want all the victims to know about such a lie, and to know that those who are said about them to be gangs of Satan are their colleagues in the same field. Whatever they are in, and the person who gave them the position in which they are is the same one who gave them. It means that it is similar to a problem inside a company or establishment in which people compete for the position of director in it. Here I ask these victims, some of whom have become beggars on the roads and knock on the doors of others in search of some food and some simple money that does not benefit anything, that also do not have any place or home for them, and they do not have money with which to buy a weapon for self-defense while they flee from one place to another in search of saving their lives.
You did not kill him. I am just able to understand your reasons. So I think your own conscience will be punishment enough. Only I promise you we'll all live to regret this day, all of us. You did not kill him. I am just able to understand your reasons. So I think your own conscience will be punishment enough. Only I promise you we'll all live to regret this day, all of us.
The secret will fall into the wrong hands. The warlords of tomorrow will use radio telepathy for evil purposes.
I see.
The secret will fall into the wrong hands. The warlords of tomorrow will use radio telepathy for evil purposes.
I see.